Good morning. I'm here to talk to you today about cloud computing. Now, you may ask, what is cloud computing? Well, for all those businesses out there that are wondering what cloud computing is basically any service or software that is run entirely online. Now, you may have thought the Office package that used to be shrink wrapped. You may have thought, well, okay, I'll buy a shrink wrapped software. But now you can download it. That is actually still a cloud service. You can use it online. Examples of these are Office 365 and Google Documents. A lot of small businesses are wondering, well, what can cloud computing do for me? How can cloud computing be in this world? Now, a MyOb report back in 2012 showed that cloud computing shows 14% of small businesses are using cloud computing. Now, but almost 40% admit to having a website and buying and selling online. Now, what does that tell you? There's a lot of small businesses out there that don't know what cloud computing actually is. So that's why I'm here to actually teach you what cloud computing is and point out some concerns and risks and how you can overcome them. A Frost & Sullivan survey finds that 43% of businesses are using cloud computing in the Asia Pacific region. Australia actually leads cloud computing across the Asia Pacific region. Now that's growing, that rate is growing at 40% per year. Now that's a big number when you think of it. Now, but when you think of the services that are out there, it's not so big. When you actually look at what cloud computing can actually do for businesses, it's not so big. You may have heard businesses with iPods, tablets. They may have them on the road. They may do invoicing on them. For example, in my business, I now do invoicing on my Android tablet. So while I'm at a customer's place, I can do the invoice there and then and email it straight through to them. Now, that is cloud computing. So why aren't businesses taking this up a lot? Now, the main concern that everyone has is security. Security and risks in cloud computing. Now, why is that? Why is there security and risks? Well, it's a simple answer. It's the same as anything internet-based. You have possibility of viruses, possibility of hackers. The other thing you have to be concerned about is that personal customer details may be stored in the cloud. Now, this should actually see and tell you that cloud computing is still around and is still going to be beneficial for business. But there's just a few of these risks that you need to overcome. Now, the other problem is availability and accessibility of the cloud. What happens if your local internet connection goes? What happens if the server that hosts all your equipment disappears? Now, these are simple problems. Websites go down, nobody's immune to that. Internet connections go down, and nobody's immune to that. But a Red Hat white paper in 2012 showed that these concerns should actually be seen as not barriers, but rather requirements as to what service may suit you over another. Now, that's a good thing to look at. Now, just a couple more ways that businesses actually use cloud computing, because that's why we're here today, is to tell you as small business owners how you can actually benefit from cloud computing. Now, do you have a website? Do you buy and sell products online? Most of us will answer yes. Well, that is cloud computing. If you have a website such as a WordPress website, it actually uses what they call a content management system, or CMS. Now, that is actually a cloud service. A more technical term, there is cloud as software as a service and infrastructure as a service. Now, we don't need to worry about what infrastructure as a service is, but as small businesses, software as a service is what matters. Now, this is what we've been talking about today, is software as a service. So content management systems. As I talked before, I do my invoicing on my Android tablet. Now that is actually a system of cloud, a form of cloud. Now, customer relation management software. Do you use this software? Is it on your local PC, or is it available on a network or using one of the internet-based softwares? That is still cloud computing. But what we have to be concerned about, guys, is just the security and risks around cloud computing. Cloud computing is here to stay. It's actually a beneficial thing for businesses. It allows us to work more productive, to work on the road, to answer queries from customers on the road rather than waiting to go back to the office. Now, this is a great piece of cloud technology, guys, and we need to take it up. We as small businesses need to lead the Asia Pacific region in cloud computing. We can do that. We just need to understand what cloud computing is. Now, I hope I've actually covered that today in just what I've been discussing. But I've also covered the concerns and risks that you may have. There are a lot more concerns.